Hello everyone, it's me, Carl from Seafoam Gaming, back again to do another Unscripted Memories. Last time I mentioned that I did a video about Nintendo's summer gaming conferences because we had two, technically three in the summer, two Pokemon ones, one tiny Nintendo Direct. Well, as of the time I'm filming this on the Saturday of the 25th, we still don't have any new info, but maybe there will be by the time this is up because it'll probably take a week since I have to edit the other one too. So this may be a double header for all I know. But whenever it comes out in August, I assume, I'm hopefully not too far behind. But what I know I'm not far behind on, unless there's a next week big thingamajig, hopefully not, is the other gaming conferences that happened this summer so far. So like PS4 had, well, PS5 now had one, and Xbox Series X had one, and then there was two ones that were more niche that I really liked, so I'm going to talk about them too. So let's talk about everything else and see how far it takes us and where we go. So first off is the PS5 conference, and I don't have much to say about this honestly. To clarify, I'm a big PS4 lover. I really love the system, the games, the boxes, the nature of the discs, everything. It's one of my favorite systems of all time, and I'm really happy I got it because so many good games, lots of physical limited editions through Limited One and other companies. Hey, it's so much games I've enjoyed playing on that thing. So PS5 should be up my alley, shouldn't it? Not really, and it was before the conference too that I felt like that. You see, one thing I wanted was to play my PS3, PS2, PS1 games on one system, kind of like I wanted to do with the Switch, and I still do to an extent of wanting to play all my Nintendo systems in one place. Well, while Nintendo only has NES and Super Nintendo stuff on their system, Sony has PS2 games, and not even many of their own, just like random picks like Fantavision, Jack, lots of SNK stuff. That's about it. So for PS2 and PS4, they did a bad job. I think I only have games from them like Dark Cloud 1 2 because they are great games. World Galaxy and Mark of Cry. That's only Sony games I have on PS2, on PS4. The rest are third party. Almost all SNK because they did retro compilations and no one else really cared. So the PS4 backward compatibility has been very troublesome to say the least. And for PS5, I really wanted them to fix that. I truly did. But alas, PS5 backwards compatibility is not meant to be, apparently. Good news is they confirmed that they'd update most PS4 games to work on PS5, some with enhancements and whatnot. That's good because at least I don't have to throw away the PS4 if I got a PS5. But still, I want to keep my PS5, and I don't think I will make the jump to PS5 anytime soon, let alone this year. And the conference didn't do anything to change my mind on, oh, I have to have the system now. Let me just explain why. So they showed off the system itself. It's a nice white Wii-like box. People memed it because it's not like anything else Sony's made. Same with the controller, the DualSense. I like that a lot. I liked PS4 DualShock 4 a lot, but I kind of got tired of it once other controls I like better, like those 8-bit dolls and arcade sticks came out. So even DualShock 4, my favorite Sony controller, isn't really enough to make me love Sony controllers. But DualSense looks amazing. Looks super comfy to hold, very comfortable, easy to use, clicky. It's my jam. I like the color scheme. I like the PlayStation button on it, and I love the white and blue of the PS5. It looks just up my alley. I like blue. I like white. I like green. Those are my favorite colors. Any system that uses those, big fave. So yeah, PS5 color scheme gets a thumbs up. Though if I the fact I missed out on the PS4 PS1 edition still gets me a bit mad because that's easily the best looking Sony system ever made. So I kind of want to see they do a PS5 version of the PS1 themed system so I can get a PS1 themed PS5. That'd be amazing. May that be my hope and dream for PS5. But yeah, system I like, control I like. Good start there. Price and date? We don't know anything about that. And that's one of the things that makes me really pissed. A lot of people were hoping for price dates, some sort of more vague info, and especially on games like release dates or windows, knowing what's going on in the world. And at the PS5 conference, we got nothing. No prices, no dates except for vague windows on some of the games. That means all the cool games I wanted to check out aren't dated or leered, and I hate that so much. You got Resident Evil 8, which I'm not into because they're milking that series to death, but hey, good for people who don't mind getting installments, I guess. Like that's on PS5. That looks I guess, okay. But that's a nice pick. And Ratchet and Clank, this is my jam. Platforming action. I have a bit of the PS3 collection. I need to play more of it. I didn't gotta like the game, so I was actually like, oh shoot, maybe I should pre-order it. It's not a launch title, not a launch window title, not a launch year title, not a year after. They didn't date it, of course. So I'm pretty peeved about that because that game looks really cool, but I don't know when it's coming out or when to expect it. So why bother buying the PS5 if I don't know when the games are coming out? And overall, that's how I felt for most of the conference. There was some minor stuff, gun games, other games I don't care for. There's a few interesting things like Medium, which sounds weird because, like, I just mentioned, I'm not into horror stuff. But this is an exception. I may not be into horror stuff, but I am into good game development stories. And Medium is holy shit. So back in 2012, the Wii U, my home turf, was about to come out. Everyone was talking about how cool it may be, and some devs were hyping up big, ambitious games like Metro Last Light and other games that never came out because they chickened out or because the Wii U was too hard to develop for. And one of these games was a game called Medium that was just supposed to be some horror game. That's all we knew about it. But what I know about it is the weird marketing campaign. Around E3 2012, this developer called Brewer Team called up a bunch of journalists and said, hey, we got a spooky game coming soon. Some weird marketing stunt. But it left me remembering, oh yeah, there was a big Medium horror game coming out on Wii U, can't wait. And it never came out. And then it never came out on Switch. And I was like, what happened? They made other games since then, and now what? Because I was confused. And this PS5 conference is where it came back. And I was like, holy shit, it's back, and it's real, and it's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. I'm kind of surprised. It's also not at this conference, but at the Xbox one I'll talk about later, one of the few next-gen games that seems to have gameplay shown of it. So it's finally over. The dev hell of this Medium game I was curious about since 2012, it lives! That's probably the biggest surprise for me overall in the PS5 thing next to Ratchet and Clank, and that's my whole PS5 thoughts. Honestly, not much to say. I just thought Ratchet and Clank were cool. Some other games I didn't care for. Medium was like, what really out of nowhere that I was happy to see come back. And there was no price and date info, so I didn't care. So yeah, it wasn't for me. But hey, at least the color scheme of the system's nice. But I'm not gonna get one. They still confirmed that PS4 games will mostly be backwards compatible, but it's not 100% backwards compatibility, and they didn't bother with PS1, 2, or 3 again. So I'm not buying it. I'm not using PS Now. God no. So that's where I'll have to be. I just don't care for PS5 stuff yet until those big games I care about that only come to it. Like most systems. But PS5 stuff aside, on to the next event, which was a weird, technically two, but I only know one announcement from this one, so let's make it hyper fast. The Summer of Games event from IGN. This was like some big event a lot of people were talking about, or like, oh, this is going to kill E3. Everyone's going to love this event. And I was like, okay, sure. And, well, I didn't even know what was going on when it happened, because the stream, it was just a day of random trailers and stuff. Nothing was really scheduled or concrete. It was hard to understand, and I didn't pay attention to it. But the one thing that happened that made me jump was Alex Kidd Miracle World's getting an HD remake. I'm not kidding. Alex Kidd Miracle World DX is coming to PS4 and other systems next year. It's from an indie dev, which means Sega doesn't really care about Alex Kidd, they just will give it to anyone. But hey, maybe it'll be a fun game. I hear they revised the rock, paper, scissors mechanics and it looks good, and it lets you switch back to the 8-bit stuff, which I love, but Alex Kidd came out on the Switch this year, so I'm like, why bother? Wait, no, it was lastly. Oh god, I forget my Alex Kidds already. But yeah, I just played Alex Kidd last year, so why do I need to play it again? So I'm hoping for new content. But that's all I got from Summer of Games from IGN. Nothing else was of value to me. That's kind of sad. But what was of value to me was an amazing conference. I hope even if E3 comes back next year, and I'll explain why I think it will soon, this needs to come back too. It's the Summer of Games conference. No, it's not. It's New Game Plus Expo. I don't remember who hosted it. I think it was some people from the Game Awards and stuff. But it was just this direct, 1 hour format of just a bunch of third-party trailers for other systems. Like a Nintendo Direct for other systems. And State of Play inside Xbox, oh, that's the same. But for me, I never felt those did it right or really did a good pacing. No, this did amazing pacing. It was like a direct, and holy frick, I also slept in when it happened, and I was sad because I only got the after show. But man, if I watched it live, I would have jumped out of my seat so many times. Let's get into why I think this is the best summer announcement jam so far. It had Bloodstained, Curse the Moon 2, sequel to my 2018 game of the year. It had SNK KOF R2 for Neo Geo Pocket Color, alongside confirmation that the Neo Geo Pocket Color release of Gal Fighters earlier this year is not going to be the only Neo Geo Pocket Color reissue. It's on Switch only, but I love obscure systems. I love Neo Geo Pocket Color. I want releases forever. We can get Metal Slug, we can get Last Blade, we can get False, we can get Sonic Pocket Adventure. So many good Neo Geo Pocket Color games, and they can all come to Switch now. So far, KOF R2 hasn't come out yet, which I'm concerned because they said it'll be the summer. But hopefully, it comes soon, and more games come soon, because I'm excited. That made me super happy. There were some other cool things they announced, like Trails of Cold Steel 4, which I need to beat free and review it, so I didn't look at it. I just know it's coming out in the end of the year, and next year for Switch and PC. So, also they spoiled the game on their stream, and I barely avoided getting spoiled on that stream, because right when I was about to go there, I was on the forum, and I looked at a thread about the event, and people were like, God, guys, don't come in, it's just Trails of Cold Steel 4 spoilers, they're showing the last of the game. I don't know why NSA did that, but at least the trailer wasn't that spoilery, except, it's the end of Saga! All the old characters come back for epic final battles. So that's cool for RPG fans. But no, the best RPG? You know me. I'm East guy. I'm a Falcom fan. Ys 9 for 2021. I love Ys. Ys 9 came out last year in Japan. I heard it's not as good as Ys 8, but I want to play more Ys. It'll get us closer to Ys 5 Remake, I believe, next year. Coming out in English. PC, Steam, Switch, and PS4. PS4 first, everything else later. But I'm gonna be over the moon, and hopefully the Switch port isn't bad like Ys 8 kinda was. Trails of Cold Steel 3 was really good. They actually locked down the frame rate and made it work fine from the demo I played. So hopefully this is not gonna make the Switch melt. But still, PS4 all the way if you want 4K 60 FPS, I assume, if it's, like Ys 8. Or PC if you want insurance. But yeah, Ys 9, Cold Steel, Bloodstained, King of Fighters, very good. There's some other announcements too. I don't remember every single one of them, but I remember quite a few, so let's talk about more. One of the ones I want to talk about is one I didn't have any expectations for, but Samurai Showdown 2019 got a DLC character in the form of Warden from For Honor. When I saw that, I was like, who the heck is For Honor, and who the heck's Warden? He looks like a cool knight. I actually do think it fits with the samurai theme of the game. But apparently he's from some Ubisoft action RPG game that came out and I never heard of. So, a guest character from an American-made game? Well, Western-made game, because Ubisoft's in Europe. But I never like when Western-developed properties are crossed over into, other, Japanese or Asian properties, Smash Brothers or Samurai Showdown, or really anything. It weirds me out, and most of the time, the stuff that they put in these games clash with the rest of the game's art style or just the feel. Thankfully, it looks like Warden doesn't, because, old times fighting with swords, this guy loses swords. I'm cool with him. I actually think he's a really cool pick. Better than Negan, who I never heard of since, and I have no idea how the hell he's in Tekken 7. But whatever the case, Samurai Shodown got a DLC guest character, and that was neat. And then Harvest Moon was announced for Switch. Dear God. So this was a bit strange, but Harvest Moon has been, for those who don't know, in some weird limbo since 2015, I want to say. Well, basically, Xseed took it over from Natsume, because Natsume localized it, brought over because the original publisher, Marvelous and whatnot, did not want to do it themselves. So Natsume did it for them. Natsume Inc., not Atari. And then over the years, they got better at, bringing games over. Usually would come out shortly after the Japanese one. Still take a bit though. But then Xseed, because now they're owned by Marvelous, took the series from Natsume, but since they Natsume wouldn't give up Harvest Moon as a trademark. They renamed it Story of Seasons, which is a direct translation of Bokujo Monogatari, the Japanese name. And thus, Story of Seasons is the original Japanese developed Harvest Moon series we all come to know and love. And it sucks. Since 2012, I want to say Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons games have been on a decline. Ugly graphics, not fun gameplay, not fun mechanics. It's just not as pretty or fun to play compared to old games like Friends of Mineral Town or 64, Back to Nature or Wonderful Life and all that stuff. I didn't like Game Boy Color 3 more than most of the new games, honestly. And even the first Game Boy game had more for me than most new games do now. So basically, there's 2 Harvest Moon like simulators out, because Natsume's still making their own Harvest Moons with that name, and then the original actual series is on the Story of Seasons. But both of them suck for their own reasons. Harvest Moon got more into Minecraft and weird crafting stuff like that, and people hate the art style there really badly. And Story of Seasons got a cheap mobile game art style, and it plays better, but it looks horrible. And nothing's more evident than with Friends of Mineral Town HD. Story of Seasons got remade. It just came out a month ago after an eternity of being out in Japan because Xseed is slow as heck at localizing stuff. They've always been like that. I never liked that. But Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town HD, it didn't look good. But that's not what they announced at the show. No, this was Natsume's Harvest Moon, which I forgot the name of. I think it's One World, maybe? This looks... I hate Mineral Town HD, but this looks god-awful. It's one of the worst-looking farm simulators I've ever seen next to Facebook ones. It's just unprofessional, cheap, bad, ugly, mostly ugly, and it doesn't look fun. It looks slow as molasses, and it's coming out later this year. Now, the funny part about that game is people hate it so much that when the presentation happened and it was live, people booed in the chat. And then they upload a separate trailer later. They removed the separate trailer and then removed Harvest Moon's name from their website mere hours after the conference because of how bad it was. Can't say I blamed them. It's one of the weirdest. I love Natsume Inc., but they're really iffy lately. I think since they lost the Metabots and Harvest Moon, the normal series, to other companies, they don't have much to do. But they should do stuff because they do have a good back catalog of good games, and they do bring out good stuff like River City. Before Arc System Works to see the problem, all the cool stuff they want to localize is now being done by the people who made them because it's a bit easier now. So what's their space in the industry now? I just hope they do okay. But for the most part, I think that's pretty much my thoughts on the New Game Plus Expo. At least the main presentation. They did some bonus stuff, and the most weird one was a Sega stream everyone's looking forward to, because people are like, oh, Sonic the Hedgehog news has got to be in here. I'm like, I don't give a shit about Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm 22. I'm not young. I like Sonic CD 2011. I like the Game Gear games. Best Sonic games of all time, in my opinion. Those sets of games. I don't need anything else. I don't like any of the Mon games post-Adventure. I don't like anything really classic-y outside of like Game Gear, CD, Sonic 1. That's basically it. I'm picking on Sonic games. That's just me. So I don't think it'll be for me. But hopefully Aegis Rim comes announced, and I think that was in another... I think it was either in that presentation or in IGN's ding. Probably IGN's ding. That looks good too. But were people still hoping for Sonic or just new stuff in general? So people waited for the post-show stream of Sega. And it was Catherine full body for 30 minutes with no commentary, no context, nothing. And as someone who hasn't seen Catherine before outside of vague memories of the old Completionist review, I was just like, what the hell is going on in this game? Just looked like Pushmo on steroids. So yeah, I was like, well, that was a waste of time. And then Way Forward came on to talk about some games, and it was Shantae 7 Silence. I always played and beat that. It's a good game though. So hey, that's pretty fun. And that reminds me, I didn't technically mention this, but they also announced a game at a Treehouse event, and I didn't mention it in the last video because I blocked out my memory. But they also announced a Bakugan game for Switch. I hate Bakugan. It's a Pokemon ripoff, and I never liked it. Ever since childhood, I remember wanting this blue Bakugan more than anything in the world. I finally get it after months. It underwhelms me. I go on a goose chase just to find it because it was sold out back then, and All the stress and heartbreak led to nothing, so I've just hated Bakugan since. Somehow it's a Hydra that it came back from the grave, and it needs to go lie down. But WayForward's doing okay lately. But they did announce we're at another conference we'll talk about afterwards, some good stuff, so they aren't all bad. But besides that, there really wasn't much post-show stuff announced. They showed off Bloodstained Curse of the Moon and said it's coming soon. Came out the middle of July, so that wasn't that long. And I still need to play it because I have to beat my backlog first. But New Game Plus Expo was a really good conference. Had some good party games, filled the void that Nintendo would have normally done for the third party showings and the directs. I think it was well handled. So with the Sum of Games, New Game Plus Expo, and PS5 event all out of the way, 2 more events are left. Let's start with the one I liked the least of the two, though I did like it a bit, and that's the Xbox conference. This just happened on Thursday, which was 2 days ago in my time area of this video filming. This may sound silly because I've never mentioned Xbox once in any of my videos ever, but I'm gonna be Team Xbox this gen. Why? Because they actually have backwards compatibility. Xbox One does, so they'll carry over to Series X, and I figured, well, I get to do an all-in-one system. I can play the Xbox exclusives that didn't come to the PS3. I can also play some PS3 games I like on a new system in better resolution and better frame rates. I can play some Xbox original games for the first time ever. I think there'll only be King of Fighters Neo Wave and Blinks, and that'll be it for me. And Pan's Dragoon Order. And also alongside that, there's just more fun stuff I can play. If I buy it at launch and there's a game drop, I don't have to worry because I can just buy all these old games and have a blast. Especially with exclusives that are new to me. So I was optimistic for the Series X event, but they were showing off new games. I knew they weren't going to show off old games, and unfortunately, not the price or date either. But for the most part, it had a pre-show, and this was better than the main show. I'm just going to spoil that. Dragon Quest XI? Not XI. Yeah, 11. XI. I forgot for a moment. Dragon Quest 11S from Switch is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And it is a Switch version upscaled, which means it looks worse than the PS4 original, but it has all the extra content. It has achievements now, it has all sorts of good stuff, and I think, yeah, it's a good game, and Xbox owners would like it. And if it has somehow 4K support, I may buy a 4K TV if I get the money this fall and play it on my Series X. I don't have it on Switch yet. I might. I don't know, but it's a good game, and I think Xbox owners will love it. Though the fact it's not an upgrade to the original version may make PS4 and Steam owners not happy. It's also $20 cheaper than normal versions right now, too. But overall, good pick for Xbox. Then there was this Square Enix game that was published by them from Yuji Naka's new company. And it's this free platformer that looks really fun and inventive, but I forgot the name of it. I just know it looks fun, it's cool, and even though Yuji Naka's games have been bad lately, like Rodea the Sky Soldier, with Rina and Ryu was a mistake. This looks fun. I'm gonna give it a shot, and it's coming to all systems, so I'll probably just go Switch anyway. But that's just me. And also, another thing that's next up is the announcement of the main show, because those two things were the only things that were in the pre-show. There was a pre-show thing that was leaked. Yakuza Like a Dragon is coming to Xbox Series X that I was known about, but it's coming on the 13th of November. And since it's a launch title for the system, that means we're basically gonna get the system hopefully November 13th or that week. Here's hoping it's that week and I can save money for it, because I don't even know how much it costs now. I think it will be $500. That's just my optimistic guess. But as for the main show, they start off with Halo, and I don't give a shit. It's Gun Game McGee 5000. It's any generic, shooter, Call of Duty, whatever, Exploratory, Metroid Prime, what else is a first person? Gears of War. Any first person shooter, they look the same to me. I like retro ones like Duke Nukem and Doom, but nothing past that. I just don't care for first person shooters at all. And this game looked kind of fun. It looks kind of like maybe a bit of Metroid Prime to it in terms of exploration. But it doesn't look fun to me. It just looks boring. And people were really oddly crapping on it because of the graphics, but it ran super smoothly at 60 frames per second. I'm in the camp that prefers better frame rate over visuals. I could care less if it was Vaseline smeared, as long as it ran rock solid, because I hate how ports on Switch like Doom and Wolf 2 one like ass, but they look super pretty because, oh, we gotta make it pretty. When I just want to play them better. I want them to play better. I don't care about looking nice. But then again, that's me in general. I don't like to look nice. I just look like me. So yeah, people didn't like Halo Infinite's graphics. I just hope it's polished and people who like Halo like the game. I'm not gonna get it. Then they announced State of Decay 3 in the CGI trailer. Don't know much about that. It looks boring and makes no sense. Then they say Hellblade Setsuna's Sacrifice 2 is going to be in Iceland. I forget Iceland's not made of ice, and I don't know much about Hellblade, and there's no gameplay. Medium was shown again. I mentioned how much that was important, so I already covered it. This weird co-op action game where you're microscopic was shown, and they did a very funny trailer that parodied, oh, this isn't a big game, but we made fun. We made it for fun. It's Obsidian. Have fun. And I don't know anything about Obsidian outside they made a Fallout game, but it looks fun, and I think if people give it a shot, I'll like it. But I think I'll wait for it to get out early access so it's a real game before I can enjoy it, because it looks like it maybe somebody may have fun messing around with. Then they announced some big RPG that looks like Skyrim, which I actually finally started playing for the first time in my life, and it's okay. I like Skyrim, but I think I like other games better. But they are making their own take on the big open world RPG, and no date or gameplay, because it's early in development. Then Rare published a game called Everwild or something like that also has no gameplay. See the problem? A lot of these have no gameplay or no dates. Most of these have no dates or leaders. So some of them do have leaders, like I think State of Decay is 2021 maybe. I know there's some 2021 games that are thrown in this conference. And then there was some other things that were shown, like some indies that look okay. This weird adventure game about like an abusive past. Kind of relatable to me, I guess. Episodic though, not a fan of that. I'm not craving them. I'm not gonna be like, oh god, an episodic game, yes! It's just not for me. Like, pretty expected. But besides the episodic game, there's some other indies, and the one that made me happy the most is already a report of another game. Tetris Effect Connected is coming to Xbox Series X in the fall. It supports Tetris Effect with multiplayer. I like Tetris, I like multiplayer. I don't like the music and the effect, it's too vocal for me. But the gameplay is really fun, and I'll buy it on Xbox Series X, why not? It's also coming to PS4 next year if I can wait that long, but depends on how I feel and what happens. And then it ended with a Fable announcement. I don't know much about Fable. I just know it had this no gameplay trailer, no Leah or release window trailer, with a frog ending it off. And since frogs are my arch nemesis, that's basically how the conference was. It was just boring. It didn't show the system like the PS5 one. That was a tiny bit better. But we got more games with Leahs, I noticed, than the PS5 one. At least ones that I care about more. So I think it's an okay conference. But I don't know. I just want to see the system unveiled fully at this point. I just want to know when I can pre-order one. So the Xbox event was okay. I mean, it's kind of obvious that with what's going on, the games aren't going to be launch window ready, except for Halo, because that's going to be out no matter what. But as I say, backwards compatibility will make Series X be more fun for me, in my opinion. So I don't mind the window of games. I just hope the party stuff coming out will make up for it. Last but not least is Limited One Games, and they do one every year, an E3 conference of sorts. They did it since 2017, and they did this weird skit one since 2018. And now we are on the third year of the conference, and this is my jam, because almost everything announced here was something I liked or thought was cool in some way. Some new games were announced, and mostly just physicals of old games, but some I've wanted for years now. So let's talk about why Limited One Games was my favorite of the summer gaming conferences next to New Game Plus. So Limited One Games, for those who don't know, because I haven't made internal memories on it yet, but I've done so many unboxings, so I assume someone has to know about it who watches this. They are a company in North Carolina, USA, that publish digital games on physical media for PS4 and Switch, and sometimes PC, but not all the time. They don't do Xbox because the oil requirements are so big, but besides that, Limited One is a pretty fine company, I think. I started back in 2016. No, 2015 maybe? God, I don't remember. I think it was 2016. It was 2016, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was 2016, because that's when One Way Her Works came out. But yeah, that's the game I started with, and I've been with them ever since. Ups and downs aside, they are a good company. I don't think they do much too long, except there was some gripes I'll mention in the episode I'll make about them for season 4. But I liked the stuff, so I tuned into the conference. Last year was good. Year before that was mostly good. Year before that was eh. This year, super epic. Let's just say that out of the way. I don't even remember what they started with, so I'm just gonna ramble off the games I remember from memory and just talk about why I think they're good. So for PS4 stuff, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what's for PS4, what's for Switch, unless it's an exclusive. So I think I'll just talk about the games themselves unless I think of an exclusive when I'll bring up the system. So the first game that comes to my mind is one I begged them on the Discord to do forever, and that's The Mummy Demastered. It's a licensed game, one of my banes of existence, but it's somehow okay, and it's pretty good. So I thought I'd play on Switch when it gets physical. Problem is, it didn't get physical. It's been almost 3 years since it came out, and I was worried sick the movie license would expire and they'd do nothing to preserve it. But lo and behold, they got the rights. It's coming physical format this month on the 31st, and I am so excited. It's going to be a pre-order, hopefully a collector's edition with some cool songs because the game soundtrack's neat. Because I've wanted that forever, man. It's the companies that preserve games and whatnot. They do pick games that don't really feel that risk of preserving, but I like buying them because of collectible factor and just having it on my shelf. But no, this is a preservation effort at its finest. Mummy Demastered. It basically could be next Scott Pilgrim, except a game I actually like and that's actually good because, Metroidvania instead of a beat 'em up. And it's just a cool game, and I'm super happy to see they got the rights to it. That was a really good surprise. The next up was a game I'm really big fan of, and that is Grammy HD Collection. I've never played these games, but I love old RPGs, and I love game arts in particular. And since this wasn't butchered by Working Designs, it's one I've been having my eye on. Though there's been some bugs in some of the patches and whatnot, so I've been waiting for a fully patched version to come out before I buy it, and physical format, I guess I'll buy that. And they announced a new patch for it, so hopefully it'll fix the texture problems that are in Grandia 2. Grandia 1 has smeary Vaseline filters, but as I said before, as much as I like pixel art and I almost hate all those filters, if the game 1's fine and everything else is perfect, I'll buy it, and that's the case. And Grandia 2 looks amazing. So yeah, Grandia HD. Physical format on Switch, August 7th. Looking forward to it. Next up is Mighty Gunvolt Burst, a game I don't like actually much at all. But I wanted it because there's so much DLC for it. I didn't even buy all of it on Switch because I didn't care for the game. But PS4, I thought about if they release it on PS4, I'll buy it. They did releasing it on PS4, so I guess I'm buying it now. So yeah, the game and all the DLC will come out at the end of August, and that is pretty neat. And then they announced something that was, well, hopefully hoped by for me, but other people, and I don't blame them, came out of nowhere. Castlevania Anniversary Collection is getting a limited edition from the company. And like, holy shit, Konami is making physical games again that aren't soccer-based. And yeah, let me tell you, Konami, as much as people hate them, I like them lately because they've been doing great stuff. Bomberman R Online, I don't like Stadia exclusivity, the Contra collections and the Gradius arcade compilation and the Castlevania compilation. And the Castlevania one's now in physical format. I don't have a PS4. I was hoping for just an occasion. Please come with a special edition box, and I think I'll be in love. Even if it takes a while for it to get made and shipped out, because that's what happens with them. You have to manufacture stuff. I am gonna love the crap out of some Castlevania on physical format, and I hope we get Contra and arcade collections too, because, oh my god, Konami makes lots of good merch with Fangamer and Ship to Shore. Limited One, so much potential. We could get reissues of old games that are super weird, like Sparkster or Axley or Snatcher on CD. We could get some TurboGrafx repros. That would be amazing. The world is open, and that is an amazing announcement. But since I have on Steam and Switch, I'm not, jumping up and down like I am for Mummy Demastered, which I haven't played in a while, and Grandia, which I haven't even bought at all. And then another announcement that I liked was the announcement that the Vita is not dead. I don't even like the Vita. If I have a PSTV, I only have a couple limited one games for it. Mostly, I think, Atari Classics compilation and One Way Heroics, my very first game from them. And it's coming to an end with Papers, Please, which came out yesterday, to a bloodbath where it sold out because they don't have much copies because the Vita cards are short supply. And Super Meat Boy, which they announced they can't release because Super Meat Boy Forever has to come out. That game seems like it's in purgatory, so who knows when the hell Meat Boy for Vita is gonna come out physically. There was like 15 blind boxes like earlier this year. But besides those 50, there's no Meat Boy Vita, so that's gonna be tricky. Super Meat Boy on Vita. And who knows when that'll come out. But the Vita, at least, they finally closed the chapter on the Vita. Once and for all. Now they can focus on the Switch and PS4 more. I mean, they already were, but you know what I mean. They also announced Return of the Obra Dinn, which was the same developer's game as Papers, Please. Came out yesterday. Collector's edition always sold out because, again, demand. But it's open pre-order if you're into that. I don't care for it. It looks kind of weird. The art style's like a graph paper book. So, not my thing, but hey, I really do dig finding obscure games through these physical purchases, so maybe I will give it a try if I get spare money. They also confirmed some distribution stuff like Kunai, which is a Metroidvania I'm reviewing on Steam, and it's really cool. I may get that. East Origin, which was before the show, but an Eastport on Switch. Oh my god, it's a fun game. I don't like as much as the other East games because it uses this awful third-person Zelda-like style instead of the bump combat or the action, the 3D style of new games. It's this weird middle ground, and I do not like it. But it has amazing music. Collector's Edition has amazing music as the CD. I can't not buy it at this point. And then Hyper Dimension Neptunia 7 is coming out for Switch in a physical format. And it's like Arc of Alchemist. Please, oh dear God, oh, don't buy it. It's like that. Arc of Alchemist is another game they released through Idea Factory. That one's like 5 frames per second. Oh my God. I hope this being an older game isn't the worst port they could have released. But it's still kind of up in the air for Idea Factory games. But hey, they got another one if you like their stuff, and that's that. So that's not all for Limited One Games conferences, but that's the main highlights for me. There's some other stuff too, mostly the fact that they announced a cool emulator for Game Boy Color stuff, and 2 games are announced for it. Shantae, the original, is on a Game Boy Color emulator with advanced capability now, and Shantae Whiskey's Revenge, which is in the Game Boy Color game, but part of the same, Shantae line they're doing. Both coming out in September, and Shantae's getting a Wii Pro card made by them, which means it's high quality, because they really do good high quality stuff. And they are doing one for Extreme Sports, a fun little sports game. I liked my 3DS when that came out. So both of those are coming out on Switch and Wii Pro cards. So that's neat. So that's a good way forward thing I mentioned earlier. And besides that, oh god, there's so much they announced I can't keep track of it all. I have to get a list out. But those are the ones off the top of my head I can think about. Though they did do some One More Thing stuff last year, they didn't this year because they couldn't lock the announcement down, unfortunately. So it really didn't end on anything special. It was just a conference of good bangers. Lots of them, but not too many, I guess I want to say. But yeah, the old compilations, Mummy Remastered, made it for me. But yeah, that's right, dog. The summer gaming conferences so far as of July 25th. Any more? I guess I'll touch on them next month, end of next month, if there's any I need to go talk about. But what do you think of these summer gaming conferences that aren't E3? Because I mentioned earlier, I mentioned why I think E3 is coming back. As much as people hate the ESA for how they doxed people last year and how trolls also took advantage and doxed the docs and got some journalists harassed because they're shitheads. E3 can't really die, at least the tradition of a gaming week dedicated to new announcements, because even though everyone hates going to E3 as a conference, the whole notion of them doing a show where they announce new games, that's magical, and I don't think they'll ever go away. Like this year, with all these fragmented conferences I just mentioned, all these different pieces, like that could have been in 1 week, all this could have been 1 week if the virus didn't happen. I think we do kind of miss E3, just so they were all concise and consistent. But without it, it's just fragmented. Some things are bad, and some things are good, and some things are not professional, and some things are really professional. It just It doesn't make sense. I guess that's the way nature is, but whatever the case, E3 2021 I think is coming back. People may not go to it in person. Even if there's no virus problem anymore, I don't think anyone would even want it in person because who knows? They may just make it press only again. I'd rather they do that so that way people don't flood the place, because ever since they had people flood the place, E3 lost a lot of meaning in my book. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Summer Gaming Conferences. I'll see you hopefully in September for more Unscripted Memories and the start of Season 4 if all things go well and I don't die. Take care, be safe, and bye!